Welcome back to Suit and Boot, standing up in truth, transformation, and breaking out of trauma, where we go from scorpion to ego to feelings. And we've been talking about daddy issues. And I just said, at some point, you have to stop blaming your father and bring yourself. Because the truth is, he may not have created the pattern. Have created the pattern, or he may not have created the pattern, but he is repeating the pattern. And ladies and gentlemen, I say that with the most love and affection because I had to say it to myself first. First, man who showed you love also showed you what to accept. Now, this is a very, very important thing because we've made a lot of decisions in our life based on this wound that we have. And until we heal it, we're never going to get past it. And for a lot of us, the father wound consistency, distance, emotional unavailability, or love that had to be earned. So, what did we do to compensate or overcompensate for, that we had to learn to love and whatever? We adapted. We picked up these adaptations. We became the fixer, the people pleaser, the overgiver, and the one who holds everything together. We overwork ourselves. We overfunction and we do more than we have to. And then we stay in relationship even when it hurts. Because somewhere along the way, we learned if I give you more, if I try harder, if I do more, then we're going to finally be worthy of love. We're going to finally be chosen. But here's the truth. You are not being chosen. But here's the truth. You are not being chosen because you are abandoning yourself. Now, let me say that again. You are not being chosen. You are abandoning yourself. breaking the cycle starts here. It starts with you. It starts with you. It starts with us. You have to stop performing for love. Now, let's break this down and let's Scorphenegle this father wound and let's break his trauma. Let's Scorphenegle this. Now, let's talk about the in space. Your body already knows. It knows. The hatefulness in your chest. That anxiety when they pull away. That urge to fix the situation. Explain. Chase. That not love. That is your nervous system trying to survive something that feels familiar. Now, let's talk about the insight aspect. Let's coordinate the frame. Now, the meaning. That's your win. Meaning, I am not in love. I am happy. I am not choosing them. I am choosing what feels familiar. I'm choosing what feels like home. And if home was inconsistent, then chaos feels like chemistry. Yep. So let's talk about the ignition. How do we solve it? How do we move forward? How do we close the gap? Now, the ignition, this is where most people stop. This is where it gets too much for a lot of us. Because this part, the ignition part, this part requires action. It requires movement. Because after awareness, you can't go back. This Phoenix ignition, that's the most difficult part in the Scorphenegle framework. Because after you know, you can't unknown. So what do we do? What are some examples that we do? We stop texting that immediately for a while. You know, you stop explaining yourself to people that do not deserve it. You stop overgiving. You stop staying where you are not being met. You're not getting what you want. We're not being heard. Why are we staying? And most importantly, this is the big thing. You stop negotiating your worth. It's not up for discussion. You cannot put a value, you can't put a place on the things that you do for someone. You can't buy love. You cannot buy affection. You cannot buy loyalty. So let me tell you what breaking the cycle is not. It is not waiting for closure, that sometimes it never comes. Usually it never comes. It is not needing them to apologize or to understand. No, no, no. It is not them changing. They're not going to do that. So you got to accept it. What breaking the cycle is and what it looks like is you, us changing. That's breaking the cycle. It starts from us. Because healing is not, I finally found someone who was going to treat me the way that I deserve. Someone who's going to treat me better. Nah. Healing is I finally stopped accepting. And I know that part. I know it's difficult because for a long time, your identity is tied to being the good one, the understanding one, the one who stays. And let me ask you something. Who and you when you are no longer over reaching? Who are you when you are no longer losing given? Who are you when you finally choose yourself and you finally take back your name? Who are you? That is where your power is. It's not in being chosen, not at all. That is my power. But in choosing That is not willpower, but in choosing. Because the moment you stop chasing, you start attracting. The moment you stop moving, you start receiving. The moment you stop moving, you start receiving. The moment you stop abandoning yourself, you take your own back. You take back your reign. And let me be clear. This is not about impulse. This is not about community unavailable. This is about coming aligned. You don't love less. You don't love less. You just don't abandon yourself to love someone. You just don't abandon yourself to love someone else. And here's what most people do not realize. This pattern it doesn't just show up in your personal relationship. Oh no. It shows up in the professional ones too. It shows up in your friendship. It shows up in your family. And for me, it definitely shows up in your business. I mean, like I said, professional. It definitely shows in your business management, your business skill. And no matter how many degrees you have, a lot of these personal things show up in the business realm because you're not over your trauma. The same way you overgave in love, that's how you overgive in your professional realm as well. That's right. You're going to go overgive every single aspect because that is the way that you've been programmed to care, to love, to interact with others. So if you think this stops in personal relationships, hmm, no. Stay tuned for next episode, and we'll talk about that, how it shows up in Vivian. And I'm going to show you how this same wound costs you money. And not just a little money, it costs a lot. I'm talking real numbers here. Because I had to face this myself. And when I did, I realized I wasn't just loving from a wound. I was working from one too. This is then suit and boot, standing up in truth, transformation, and breaking out of trauma, where we go from scorpion to ego to phoenix, be the Scorphenegle brain. Thank you for listening, and stay tuned for next episode where I talk about how this is costing you, this viewing is costing you money. If this episode resonated with you, comment here. Take the Scorphenegle quiz at scorphenegle.com. It's SCORPHENEGLE.com. Find out what mode you're in. Because right now, I'm gonna help you how to stop being daddy little girl. But because we stop becoming daddy little girl and start becoming yourself. Thank you for joining me. Until next time.